Hey y'all, welcome back to Life on Lilac. We have officially braved our 4th winter here in northern Indiana, and now we're about to have our 4th growing season since we moved here. If you are new here, let me introduce myself real quick. My name's Anna, and we're actually from Texas, but almost 3 years ago, is that right? 23? 24, 25. Yeah, almost 3 years ago, we moved our entire family from Dallas to northern Indiana. We started a ministry in 2020 out of our home, and we needed more space for guests. And so we looked for 2 solid years and finally found this place in Indiana that was perfect for us. It has an 1860s farmhouse. That's what you see behind me, that is able to house guests when we need to have guests for our ministry. And it came with 1.5 acres of usable land, most of it not landscaped, and so we've kind of had a blank slate to work with. We've had to dig things up and move things around. Now, I am by no means a professional gardener. I do have a few years of experience, and I did garden back in Texas, which I have to say is a lot harder than gardening here in Indiana, where it actually rains, and the weather throughout the summer is temperate and not, deadly. Look at this. Hey, I see that you're not trying to avoid my camera shot.
I know.
Thanks so much.
Well, howdy do. Love you, Mama.
Love you. And I have to admit that I've actually killed hundreds more plants than I have helped thrive over the years. But I'm getting better, and I hope you will be interested in joining me as I learn. It is late April right now, and I have been doing plenty before now, but it's mostly been maintenance. But if you're interested in seeing what it looks like in the winter and what it takes to get things kind of ready for the growing season, that's what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, and that's what I want to show you today. The farmhouse is actually right up against a busy street, so I try not to film out there if at all possible. It's very loud. But everything you see behind me is something that we have installed since we've been here. This is the vegetable garden, and over here is a fruit orchard that's just getting started. But when we first moved here, this was all just a field of grass and weeds. And there's still plenty of weeds. We're gonna have to wait a while before we do anything to our grass and make our lawn look nice. But the last several years, this was just grass. This was just lawn. So putting in these planting spaces and then figuring out which trees and how we wanted to grow the orchard here. It's kind of amazing what you can do in a couple of years. Now, my goal for year 5, and this is really just the end of year 3 that we're having right now. We haven't had our 3rd year anniversary yet. But my goal for our 5th anniversary is that by the time we get there, we will have done enough work prepping everything and moving things and mulching and doing all the necessary infrastructure that by the time we get to our 5th anniversary, it'll be mostly an issue of maintenance and starting new projects instead of constantly weeding and repairing the things that were here when we got here. So that's our goal, and as you can see, I'm kind of getting there already. What I've been working on up till now, I wasn't able to finish last year until like July. So it's really exciting to see the fruit of your labor. I do have some bad news about the asparagus. I moved about half of it last year, and I can't find it. I don't think it's growing back. So that's a real bummer. Anyway, I'm still improving this over here. It takes so much work to get from how we left everything in the fall to a workable place in the summer. There is a huge gap with lots of hard work in between. Now, this row right here is where I'm almost positive, I planted the asparagus. I dug it up, I spread it out, separated it into clumps, and planted it right here. I'm almost positive. I guess I could have planted it right here. I'm gonna have to weed this and see if there's any sign of asparagus growing. This is such a bummer to me. This won't take much to weed, but I've been working on this all spring, and it's finally in its final stage here. So let me show you look at that. Is that a dandelion that just grew up right in this Patch of dirt. Seriously. Of course. Last year we realized that we were losing the fight with our orchard. We have an open property, so there's no tall fences around here. We're in a neighborhood, but a lot of the backyards here are an acre or more, and so the deer just kind of roam freely. And we discovered that our fruit trees, instead of growing, they were getting smaller and smaller as the deer came along to eat the branches. I had no idea that deer would eat branches of a fruit tree. So we had to kind of regroup and say, what are we going to do? This is an investment that we need to protect. And so we had to extend our fence. So last year, the fence to our vegetable garden ended right here. And so you can see from here to this back fence now was all grass at the end of fall. And I had to bring in lots and lots of cardboard. The kids helped me. They were so much help. Open it up, take the tape off, lay it down, and then put mulch on top of that. And I've put a few little spots of soil here and there. When my pumpkin plants are ready, I can plant them in their final home out here. This is brand new garden space, and it's going to be all pumpkins. Now, since that has taken so much of my time, I'm going to take it slow getting the rest of this. This is walkway. I'm just holding it down with these trellises right now. And then my main objective in the next couple of weeks, after I get home from a quick trip, is to get my tomatoes in the ground. This year, I've moved my tomatoes from over across the way. And then last year, I had a little bit of variety of tomatoes. Mostly, I used tomatoes for tomato sauce. And so this year, even the variety that I had last year, I was like, I really wish I had more sauce and paste tomatoes. So almost 100% of my tomatoes are Amish paste this year, because I just want this garden space to work for us. We feed a lot of people who stay with us from our ministry, and I love the idea of feeding them what has come from the garden. Just for reference, this is a very old peach tree that we're trying to save. Who knows if it's going to survive. It's split and fallen apart, and we've tried to repair it. It was here when we moved here, but so were 2 other peaches, and they have all been destroyed in various storms. So hopefully it'll give us some peaches someday again. If not, we'll cut it down. If it does, we'll keep it where it is. So here is the pumpkin patch. And then starting right outside the pumpkin patch, I'm going to be threading some string across here, about 3 lines, and then the tomatoes go between these supports. I can fit, because I'm planning on keeping the tomatoes pruned. I really like how that looks, and this upper Indiana area is very humid, so you want to keep the humidity from causing damage. So I like to plant them about 4 in between here. That gives me about 15 inches in between each one, because that's about a 6-foot space. So I've got 4, 8, 16, 20, 24 right here. But my flat holds 48, so that's only half. So I'm hoping to do another bed there, another bed here, and another bed here of tomatoes. That's my goal. It's because it's such a beautiful day and I haven't started work yet. Let's go see what is actually coming up in the rest of the garden. There's some fun stuff. Now you're going to have to use your special eyes to avoid looking at the weeds. There's lots of weeds in the walkways still. That's like last priority right now. A few weeks ago, I got out here with my hoe and cleaned out, or I at least tried to clean out, this entire row here and the row along the fence there. And I planted red potatoes, and look, they are already coming up. I did those a little bit early, but it looks like they're going to be just fine. So this is a weed, this is a potato, and this is a potato. So I need to come back through and add some more soil to the top of these because they are definitely trying to get out. I'll give it some attention and pull some of these weeds, and then I'll just let it go because potatoes are really easy to grow. This is a Concord grape that we got last year. It's a Concord seedless, and it's actually one that we spent a little bit more money on because it was a several-year-old plant, and I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to come back this year because it took so long to bud. But look at that. Beautiful buds coming on. We're going to have grapes this year, I feel. Okay, so right here you'll see something growing. People who visit are going, oh yeah, look at all those onions. Not onions, these are garlic. It's super early in the season, so how do we have garlic this big, this early? Well, it's not early in the garlic season. These were planted back in November. My nephew and his wife came up to visit us, and she was so pregnant, but she said, I want to help in the garden. So while I was doing something else, I was doing some ministry thing or maybe homeschooling, she came out here all on her own and weeded for me. And then together, she and I went through all the garlic that I had saved and purchased for this year and planted it. And this is what it looks like in April. I think that's an early July harvest, so that'll be one of the first things that we're able to take out of the garden. This is my favorite type of garlic, music. It grows really well, tastes delicious, and the cloves are huge and really fun to cook with. We have Korean red, we have Zimu, I think. I wrote the names and they're coming off. I need to redo those. German extra hardy, Amish rock and bowl, and then this is all home saved over the years. So that's looking great. It needs to be weeded. It's just like everything else. That's the thing about a place where it's easy to grow plants. It's also really easy to grow weeds in that place. All right, what else do we have? Oh, onions. I planted onions a little bit after the potatoes, and then I planted more potatoes. So here are our little onion rows. Oh, the robins have come back from their migration, and they always come back right around the same time I plant onions, and they see the little piece of onion popping out of the ground. This is what they see, this little bit right here, and they pull it out thinking it's a worm, and then they just leave them laying around. It's annoying. And then I try to come back and cover them up or put them back in the soil. It's just a process, whatever. They don't get them all, and I still have onions growing, so it's fine. It's just one of those things you deal with. You have to learn how to work with nature. And then I had so many onions, I had to go this way with them as well. I think this bed stops right here, so I'll be able to fill this in with some early spring vegetables. I guess it's not early spring anymore. Look at that guy, he even lost his paper. Where does this go? I can't even see a space where this came from. Well, it's going right here. And then on this farthest row, I got more potatoes. This is either a white or a yellow. I don't know which one I bought. They weren't labeled, but I'm able to get them from a farm store here, and they're really reasonably priced. So I like white and yellow. It's fine. But that's all that's planted in this wild mess of a garden right now. Tons more work and tons more plants are on their way. Do you guys want to see the seedlings that I'm growing? I decided to do some seedlings in milk cartons this year because I was anxious to get some seeds in the ground, but it was still too early. It's so long. This winter season is so long. So you're able to make a little mini greenhouse out of a milk carton, which I've done before, but I haven't had tons of success. I think I'm going to do a little bit better because I started them quite a bit later than I did before. I think one year I started them in like early February, and they all died before it was time to put them in the ground. A little milk carton garden right there. Definitely said milk, but I think these were all drinking water, so I wouldn't have to worry about old milk being in there. So we have some beets. We have some lettuce. What is this one? Cabbage. That's a green cabbage right there. Can you see that? This is broccoli. Brussels sprouts, so I had to make sure I labeled them well. And this one I didn't label, but I'm pretty sure that's a red cabbage. Cauliflower. Ooh, that one's looking nice. Another lettuce. That's my butter crunch lettuce there. If you saw my reel about getting ripped off from the seed company, that's the one that only had 12 seeds in the entire thing. And then here's some peas. They're looking beautiful. I'm going to put those right on a trellis as soon as those are ready to go out. And then over here I have some marigolds, sunflowers, more sunflowers. I've got tons and tons of sunflowers for the front yard. Here's the pumpkin project right here. See all my numbered pumpkin seeds. I've got mammoth sunflowers down there at the end. And then some other things. Zucchini and nasturtiums and some okra seeds. Nothing poking its head up yet, but I did this pretty recently. I just have to keep it watered. And then here's what I got from the greenhouse when I was finally able to go and shop there. Look at this. It was so hot yesterday. Some of these got sunburned. I hope they'll be okay, but most of my tomatoes are Amish paste because there's almost no waste. They don't have very much juice or gel, and so everything is used in the actual spaghetti sauce. I love that tomato. It's April 25th, 2025, and I can officially, because we're out of the woods as far as frost dates go, I can officially welcome you to season 4 of Life on Lilac. I hope you'll subscribe and hang out with us the rest of this growing season as we do projects, put in new plants, and see the fruit of all this work in the fall. I'm really glad you're here and really excited for this next season.